Hey, welcome to A Game for Your Thoughts. Today we're talking about Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time.
Hey, wait! Before
Whoa,
you make the
what are you
video,
doing
this
here?
is you from the past. Okay?
What?
I need you to listen to me.
No,
This is very
I'm
important.
confident that this is the right
review
thing to
gonna
do.
ruin your
Believe
life.
me,
People
I'm
will
positive
hate you
that this
for
is
it,
what I
okay?
want to say.
Don't do it. I know I wrote
No.
it. And I thought it was great at the time, but
I'm
the more
sure
I think
that
about
this
it,
is
don't
what
do
I
it.
need to do.
It's the
Okay,
worst thing
it's
you could
fine. It's fine.
possibly
Get out of
do,
here.
okay?
Go.
Okay,
Shoot.
okay, fine. I'm going.
Sorry about that. Oh man. Okay. Well, we're talking about Crash Bandicoot 4 today.
Hey, this is you from the
What in
future.
the world?
Okay,
Who
so
are
this
you?
video is going to be very divisive. People are going to like it. People are going to hate
What
it.
do you have to say?
I understand it's confusing,
Oh,
but I
come
just need you to
on.
listen to
Should
me.
I do this video
Just
or
go
not?
with it. Do
Okay,
what you feel like you
fine.
need to do,
I'll
but
keep
also at the
doing
same
it,
time be
and if
very
something bad
cautious.
goes
People
wrong,
might
I'll
hate
deal
you.
with it
okay?
later,
It's
okay?
fine. It's
Just
okay. It's
leave me
okay.
alone.
Okay,
I'm
fine.
trying
I'm
to
going.
do my
I'm going.
video.
I'm
Get
going.
out of here. Shoo. Gall, sorry about that, guys. All right, welcome to A Game for Your Thoughts. Today we're talking about Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. So Crash Bandicoot 4 is a continuation of the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, so it takes place after the events of the third game and kind of ignores everything else that happened afterwards, which I'm kind of fine with. So it picks up with Cortex, Entropy, and Uka Uka in the past, and they're trying to break free, and when they do, they kind of start getting up to problems. Entropy and Cortex start opening dimensional portals and time things, and it's a big old confusing mess. So it's up to Crash, Coco, and a few friends to go and stop Entropy and Cortex and save the world. So the story of Crash Bandicoot 4 is easily the best Crash Bandicoot story we've had. I really liked its minor complexity, but still the simplicity and fun it had. It felt like a silly cartoon that just was having fun with itself, and that's totally what it was. I loved Crash's personality, even though he doesn't say a single word. He's still very charismatic and really fun to follow along with. And the other characters you come up with along the way are also enjoyable as well. I really liked the masks, and I kind of wish that the masks' personalities got to come out a little bit more, because when they did, it was funny and entertaining. So it would have been cool to see a little bit more with the masks. Well, there really isn't a whole lot to say with the story. I did appreciate what it did with the Crash Bandicoot lore and the story and the implications it has on the first game. I thought were really, really cool, and I just enjoyed the story overall. While there really isn't much more to say about it, I just enjoyed it, and I thought it was a good vessel for the gameplay. So let's talk about the gameplay. For the gameplay, it's a very mixed bag of emotions. It's kind of tricky to explain, but I'm going to do my very best. The initial startup of Crash Bandicoot 4 is kind of frustrating. You start out and you ease into it very easily in the first two levels. It's not too bad. It's just general Crash Bandicoot playing. Just kind of eases you back into it. But once you hit about the third level with the Mad Max-esque world, I feel like it kicks the difficulty up to 11 a little too soon and a little too quickly. My wife and I started playing this, and she was very quickly turned off by the difficulty. She was very uninterested in the game very quickly. It was way too past what she was wanting. And at first I was like, oh, it's fine. Maybe just these few levels. But I kind of found that throughout the game, there was this really weird pacing that was thoroughly inconsistent. While I was able to work this game very comfortably with the new modern mode that doesn't have a live system and it just keeps track of your overall deaths per level, that was sad to see how many deaths I had on certain levels, but it was also nice not having to worry about lives, or else I would be restarting levels a lot and it would be very frustrating. So the modern mode, good touch, really makes this a little bit easier. But let's get back to my big problem. So like I said, this game has a weird pacing problem. It starts out not too bad, then it kicks the difficulty up really high very fast, and it's very jarring and uncomfortable. Then you get kind of into this groove where it's like, okay, this is not too bad, and then it kicks it up again, and it just does this really weird flow where it's very difficult for no reason, comes out of nowhere, gets super simplistic and not too bad, and then kicks it up again, and then it flows, and it has this really, really bad pacing that it just never lets you get comfortable with the game. I can kind of think of it like when you're 16 and your mom gets you in the minivan and is like, okay, so this is the gas pedal, this is the brake, here's the steering wheel, don't forget your seatbelt. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then the next day your dad's like, all right, here's the NASCAR, go drive the Indy 500. And you're like, what? Hold up. And then, so you do that and it's a pain, but you do it. And then the next day you get back home and your mom's like, all right, back to the minivan. And you're like, I'm so confused. It's just like this very weird pacing that just never lets you feel comfortable with the game. It never lets you settle in and really enjoy the experience because it's always just ebbing and flowing in such a bad way. It would have been a little bit more understandable if it did it a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end, but it just does it throughout the whole experience. And all 43 levels this game has to offer, it just never got comfortable. It was always uncomfortable and uneasy, and I never knew what to expect. And I mean, I'm fine catching unexpected things, but I just never was able to fully grasp the main mechanics of the game because it always used them in uneasy and unparalleled ways. Another big thing to say is I don't mind difficult games. I love Dark Souls and Bloodborne and other very difficult titles. I love those. It's great. It's a good challenge. But it eases you into the game's mechanics, starting out basically and getting you a fundamental grasp of what's happening and eases you into the difficulty and then keeps that difficulty consistent to where you can understand it and see what's happening. Where Crash 4, I never felt like did that. It just wanted to be difficult for difficult's sake and have no reasoning or explanation or natural flow into that difficulty. It was just so jarring, unexpected, and kind of unfun. I feel like this really hurts my recommendation for a general or casual audience. My wife is a huge casual gamer. She does not game at all, but she really enjoyed Crash Bandicoot Trilogy 1, 2, and 3. So she was excited to jump into Crash 4, but she was very quickly put off. And I like to think of this as a very good thing to keep an eye on because audience is very, very important. You look at something like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is clearly not made for a general audience. It is a very difficult game, and Joe Schmo down the street is not going to play Dark Souls because he knows it's a difficult game. Where Crash Bandicoot is presented as this fun, cartoony, silly, and just fun adventure game, I feel like Crash Bandicoot 4 does not respect that in a way that makes it that it's hard to recommend to a general audience. If you're a skilled gamer and you enjoy difficult platformers, you'll be right at home. You'll be like, sweet, this is difficult. I enjoy this. But if you're a casual gamer who is not a very advanced person in the video game world, you're going to have a very hard time with this game and honestly not have that much fun. I feel like I'm a skilled person myself, and I still feel like I had a very generally unfun and unenjoyable experience. Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3 ease the player into the difficulty. The first several worlds and levels start off soft. They ease you into the difficulty. They show you the basic mechanics, things that can happen within these levels. And I feel like Crash Bandicoot 4 does not do that. And in my opinion, it severely hurts the overall experience and the audience. With all this in mind, let's look at the rest of the game. I generally think the rest of the game is enjoyable. When I think about my overall experience with Crash Bandicoot 4, it was fine. But that big difficulty thing just really put a big wrench in it because the other stuff that's there is enjoyable. I thought they had neat things with the different characters to play as. I really enjoyed playing as Tana. She was tons of fun. I really didn't like Dingo Dial, and Cortex was fine. But it was fun to play as Tana. That was great. Her levels were awesome. And the inverted levels were cool as you just get to play through those original levels. But it has some cool twist on it. Same thing, I really enjoyed the Tana level on the pirate ship when it's like black and white and her attacks and grappling hooks splash color on everything. That was cool. That was neat. There was certainly a lot of very interesting things here, especially with the masks. They introduced cool new mechanics to be used in the levels. Though in general, I found them to be more frustrating than anything, it was still neat and the ideas were there and I appreciated that. I did appreciate how there were skins to unlock. It was fun to find the gems and complete the levels and get skins as a reward. And the inverted levels helped with this, so you didn't have to be a total completionist to get the rewards, which I thought was great. The graphics of this game are very solid. Each of the worlds has its own unique theme, and it's tons of fun to explore these as they're all very different from each other. Not one feels very similar to the other in its aesthetic, its music, and the enemies and different things you come across. Each one just feels different, and I certainly did appreciate that. The variety of levels was there, and it was very neat. Also, throughout the game, there are a few boss fights, and I enjoyed these boss fights. I can certainly thank the developers for being very generous with their checkpoint placement in certain fights, but I found the fights overall to be very awesome. There was not really one that I didn't particularly enjoy. I really liked the engine fight. That was really cool. The rocket head. It was all awesome with the cool drum thing. I thought that was great. It was just, all the fights were fun and they were implemented very well and it was just enjoyable. With all this in mind, Crash Bandicoot 4 puts me in a very weird position because what was awesome was really, really awesome. What was not awesome was really terrible and it made me want to pull my hair out and I hated it. It was just such this weird balance of such an unequal experience that it was never awesomely awesome and never really terribly terrible. It was always just bouncing back and forth that it just never got me comfortable with either one. I would have preferred it would have been awesome the entire time, but also I feel like it would have been more consistent if it was consistently bad, but it was never either one. It always bounced back and forth, and it just really puts me in a very weird spot when I'm playing this game because it's not fun, but it is, but it's not. So as a reviewer, would I recommend the game to you? I don't know. Because I can honestly say, if you're not interested in wanting to break windows and see a therapist after you're done with this game, don't play it. It's not worth it. But if you want a generally very difficult and very inconsistent platforming experience, then go for it. It's there. If you're a Crash Bandicoot fan, be very wary of how you approach this game, because if you tend to find yourself very good and skilled at the Crash Bandicoot games, you might enjoy this, you might not. It's just such a hard toss-up that it could really go either way, and I think one big thing is to just try it for yourself and see if you're into it or not. I've given you my opinions and how I feel about it, and that could influence you one way or the other, or just go in with it and just give it a try and see how you like it. I gave it a try, and unfortunately, it was not my cup of tea, but I still was like, oh, the cup I drank it out of was cool. But I think the big thing is if you're a casual video gamer just looking for a very tricky but manageable experience, I would recommend looking somewhere else. I would go and try the first trilogy of Crash Bandicoot, because Crash 4 is not for the casual gamers. It is not for the lighthearted fun. It is a frustrating and inconsistent experience that is hard to recommend. It is not the perfect Crash Bandicoot game that I was really hoping it would be. I hope if there's a Crash 5 that fixes this pacing problem and evens things out a bit, smooths the experience, and that would be very enjoyable. And that was unfortunately the game that we didn't get, and I was really hoping we would. So in the end, Crash Bandicoot 4 is rough. Hey, thank you so much for watching my video on Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. So what did you think about the video? Let me know down in the comments below. And what did you think about Crash 4? Let me know as well. So if you like what you saw and you want to help me out, if you want to hit like, subscribe, and the bell to get notified every time I post a new video, that would be awesome. And if you want to see more of me, I'm over on Twitch at twitch.tv/agameforyourthoughts. I'm streaming there all the time, and I would love to see you there. Thanks again for watching the video. I hope you have a great day, and don't forget that the key to success is succeeding, and we'll see you guys next time on A Game for Your Thoughts.